One of the things that we found when we asked people, how did you hear about our online program? It's a referral from one of these 800 students. So they're out there in their workplaces talking to their colleagues, or at church talking to their friends saying, hey, if you're interested in earning your degree, you need to look at HBU's program.
Dr. Steve Peterson is the HBU Vice President for Online Digital Learning, and his associate, Dr. Jay Spencer, is the Associate Vice President for Digital Online Operations. Steve has brought a tremendous amount of leadership and expertise to the Pampel Online Division, where HBU's Online is now recognized as either the fastest or one of the fastest growing online universities in America. Congratulations.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You know, I was thinking we came a long way from that lunch in Charlottesville, Virginia.
That's right. You know, some days I look at it and I feel like, wow, it's been so long. But when you look at the calendar, you realize it's only been just a couple of years since we initially sat down and talked about this idea of the Pampel Online Division. And then it's been not even 2.5 or just 2.5 years since Dr. Spencer and I joined the team. So a lot has been done in a short amount of time.
And you know, this is not an easy thing to pull off. When you have a huge university, you have a culture already established, and then you're coming in with this digital Maverick, let's move forward. I mean, tell us how it's gone from what it was, where we were basically beta testing with just a few courses, to now nearly 1,000 students.
Yeah,
wow.
That's exactly right. Wow is the only way to say it. We were just talking earlier today, that first summer, it was less than 100 students that were in what we would consider our online program. And last year we finished with over 800, and now we've started this new academic year, and we're already sitting with more than 800 students, with hundreds more that want to enroll this year. And so we'll go over 1,000 enrollments just in the online campus here at HBU. That's separate from what we're doing in the undergrad or the graduate campus and the classes that take place here on campus. But to get there was a team effort. I remember in March of 17 sitting around the table and just all the divisions sitting around talking about the online program and what would it take for us to serve an adult learner, totally different than an 18 to 22-year-old. This is someone who has a job, they want to go back to school because they have unfinished business, or maybe they're looking to earn a graduate degree. So how are we as a university going to meet the need of that student? They can't just simply walk away from work or take time off or come over to campus. And so we sat down and we built a customer, if you will, or student service center that services our online students when it's convenient for them. We don't close up at 4 o'clock. We're open, late at night, and we're just there to service them and help them achieve their educational goals.
Now, so and help us distinguish the difference between a traditional residential university experience, and it starts what, once a year, versus online that starts what, 6 times a year?
Yeah, that's exactly
right. Give us
right.
just the metrics.
Well, traditionally school across the board. In fact, we're getting ready here in Houston and around the country. Kids are going back to school even this week. So, an undergraduate program is a student who considers maybe their sophomore or junior year of high school. They start to plan for the university that they'll attend, and there's this long, for lack of a better word, runway for them to prepare to go to that school. And they come residentially and they live in the residence halls.
Right.
So they show up in the summer and they do orientation and they register and meet with the faculty. It's just a different experience as they come to campus. But for an adult learner, it's, they're trying to juggle life. If you think about it, 18 to 22, if you send your son or daughter to school and you give them a priority list, number one on that priority list is what? School. You take an adult learner, someone who wants to go back to school, where does that rank on the list? Number one is going to be their family. Number two is going to be their job. Depending on their church situation, maybe church is number 3, and so school fits in, number 4, right? So maybe it's 3 is the top spot. So they're really looking for a university to partner with them and help them navigate that educational experience in a different way. It's no different than how we interact with shopping or banking. You know, how is it convenient for me? I got a ball game tonight for my kids. I have this thing that's due for work. You know, I'm not able to attend class at a specific time. So can I still achieve my degree or earn my degree when it's convenient for me? So just looking at it through their eyes and realizing there still is a path to completing that degree, but it's not Tuesday, Thursday classes held at 2:20 on a campus.
Everything's changed. I mean, Amazon has redefined retail. You know, I used to go to Barnes & Noble weekly. Now I do 2 clicks every time I hear a book that I want. You've got some PowerPoint. Today we were in a quarterly marketing meeting at HBU, and we're talking with Dr. Steve Peterson, the HBU Vice President for Online Learning and Digital Learning at Houston Baptist University. Just walk us through synoptically the report you gave today about HBU's online.
Well, as I had stated last year, so academic year 19, the Pampel Online Division finished with 840 students and 10,000 credit hours. Wow. So those 840 students took 10,000 credit hours throughout the year. And you mentioned we have 6 start dates. So they can start twice in the fall, twice in the spring, twice in the summer. That's a major milestone for such a young program.
Yes.
There are universities that have been working at this for years, and they're still not able to get to those numbers. So it speaks to the reputation of HBU as a trusted provider of quality education that happened here for 50 years on campus and now is taking place in an online format. To give you some perspective, last year at the same time we had 500 students, 583, and right now we have 822 already registered for this academic year. So the word's getting out, and one of the things that we found when we asked people, how did you hear about our online program? It's a referral from one of these 800 students. So they're out there in their workplaces talking to their colleagues, or at church talking to their friends saying, hey, if you're interested in earning your degree, you need to look at HBU's program. A couple other things that have happened, you can see just the amount of interest. So last year we had over 15,000 people raise their hand and say, hey, tell me more information about your program. So compared to that first year when we just had dozens, if not 100. So now in this third year, we're starting to see a lot of interest generated around our online programs.
And there's an exponential help. I mean, one of the things you've done is you've partnered with one of the television affiliates here in Houston, and we're one of the 4th largest market in America. So it's no small task when you affiliate with one of the television channels. I want us to just bring in some of that commercial of HBU Online. And, having seen that, tell us what you've done with that channel. I believe which channel is it?
Yeah, it's the local affiliate, KHOU here.
ABC?
CBS.
CBS, okay.
KHOU.
And now, there's obviously people in Houston that hear about HBU, and we get traction residentially from them. But what are the other sources that are what you would call that funnel leads to you?
Yeah, it's interesting. In order to get the word out, besides referrals from current students, how do you find a 35-year-old female who's a working professional, a mom of 2, and wants to go back to school to either finish or earn a degree, right? Like, there's no list you can buy necessarily to find them. So we have to go out into Houston, and we basically drawn a circle around Houston, a 50-mile radius, which happens to have 8 million people in it. Yeah. And we want to get the message out that we have programs online that they can take at a time that's convenient for them. So we have what we call a mix of advertising. In today's world, digital is taken over, but we're still in broadcast and TV. For instance, we advertise in the morning shows on KHOU to make sure that people can hear, whether watching the weather or the traffic, so that they can get the message about HBU and our online programs. But they've also come along to be a partner, and they allow us to participate in their digital assets too. So they have an app and they have social media presence, and so they'll advertise and put our advertisements out there to attract people to the university.
So collectively, I mean, all the digital advertising, everything you do, it's just thousands of impressions on all kinds, millions on all kinds of different platforms. Salem has been one of our participating groups, right?
Yeah, Salem Communications has multiple websites and millions of subscribers, has partnered with us to put our advertisements out and let people know, whether it's a degree in counseling, maybe apologetics, we have psychology degrees, business degrees. So we're able to put those advertisements out there and target people who are interested in earning those degrees.
So tell us what you envision for the next year, because I feel like 10 years from now, the online campus of HBU is going to be enormous. And isn't there a predisposition of density of population in the geography of online that plays to help?
Well,
and are we not advantaged being in Houston?
I think you're right. Before, early on in online education, 10 or 15 years ago, there was some universities that got into that modality when others kind of laid back. They weren't sure about it and they didn't necessarily adopt it early on. And so those schools have grown and have large online campuses. But the research shows that students who enroll in an online program still would like to do so with a university that's in their backyard, somebody within 50 to 100 mile radius.
Interesting.
Part of that is because sometimes you just want to drive over to campus. And we had an open house 2 weeks ago here. We had over 60 people come on campus and walk through our courtyard and walk through our academic buildings and go to the library and get their ID, so they can get the college discount at the stores. So for us, we feel like we're sitting right in the middle of people who can earn a degree and not have to do it with a university that's in another state. You don't have to go to one of these schools that you see that have this national presence. You can do it right here in your backyard with a school that you can come to campus, come to football games, come to events, come sit in our library, use the Wi-Fi, whatever you need. But again, go to class when it's convenient for you.
Make a projection for the next year or two. What are your objectives and goals?
Well, I could honestly say I don't think anybody could have predicted that the program would grow so quickly and that people would just identify with the quality academics that we have here at Houston Baptist University. And so if it continues, and we've modeled out the data, we're going to see several thousand people enrolling in our programs here. The challenge for us now is we have 26 programs online, and we felt like we started out with some programs that would meet the needs of our prospective students, but we're already getting feedback from folks where they want additional programs. So not only will we grow in the next few years, but now we have the challenge of finding the programs that are going to help working professionals to get promotions, to get jobs, and to complete their degrees. So.
I was with DJ Dupre, the chairman of the board of Herman Miller outside of Grand Rapids, about a $500 million corporation. And I was in his home and I asked him, I said, Mr. Dupre, what's the secret of Herman Miller? I'll never forget it. And he pointed to a shelf that had different business leaders. And he said, when we brought him in, this happened. We brought him in, this happened. And I remember, Steve, the first task force meeting we had under the leadership of Dr. Sloan, his vision to explore online. And every meeting we had for a year, I kept thinking, we've got to get a pro to run this. We got to get a veteran. And I've been in ministry long enough to know what happens when you get the right leader in the right area. God obviously prepared you to come and to take this leadership mantle, and he graced you with your longtime colleague, Dr. Jay Spencer, who is just a plethora of ideas every time you're around him. But this was kind of like a startup from nothing. There was no office, there was no anything.
Yeah, I think part of success sometimes is being a little naive, right?
Right.
And so the Lord has allowed me. I've enjoyed a 25-year career in higher education, and during that, I've been allowed to be around, be involved, and be in leadership roles. Specifically, prior to coming to HBU, the last 10 years in marketing and online education, and I was able to do it at a school that had tens of thousands of enrollments. So you kind of get this view of what it would take to run something efficiently and to meet the needs of students. And so when we came here to HBU, we had that vision of what it would take to run an online campus. And so fortunately, the leadership here, the deans and the faculty all got on board, got together, and created the HPU online experience. And so we've been blessed to have a great team and for the Lord to bless our efforts and to have this much success.
Well, you have been a gift to HBU, and we're so glad you and Jay are here, your families, the tremendous sacrifice to come and go and to do all the things you do. So grateful to God. We really prayed about this, and we feel like God led. And I know Dr. Sloan feels the same way. All our team does. And I sensed even today in our branding and marketing meeting, you can just see it's gelling. You know, it's like developing a team that starts getting consistent wins. There's a consensus that begins to gel.
Yeah.
And that's happening. Just in closing, I mean, you know, so many schools try this, and I know of one in particular, I'll leave nameless, but they hit a lid. And you know, I remember in that situation, I heard a report that the donor was very frustrated because they couldn't get further. How have you been able to troubleshoot those challenges along the way?
Well, I wish I could sit here and say, well, I came in with a list of about 12 ideas and everybody said they're the greatest ideas we've ever heard. Let's implement them, and we've had success. But I think the secret is this. You touched on it today. The spirit that's at HBU, and even spirit so much that there's collaboration and coming together, and really at the end of the day, doing what's best for the student. And I've been challenged. Even some of my ideas that I've brought to the table have been challenged by others to be better for the student. So there's really a collaborative working environment that has the student in mind, that has our mission in mind, that allows us to work together and be successful.
And you've got a great team that are working with you. And each day you're evaluating, you have a set of metrics and analytics. I mean, this is a high-tech operation.
It really is. You know, when the university had the honor of receiving the gifts to start the online program, they set that money aside, earmarked it, and didn't touch it. You know, a lot of times universities will receive a gift and maybe it gets applied to different things, but HBU was committed to starting the online division. The money was designated for that. So we believe that we're stewards of what the Lord has blessed us with. And the technology that we have today allows us to pivot quickly and change our advertising strategy if it's not working. Years past, you bought a full-page ad, you were committed to run it in the Houston Chronicle whether it performed or not. But with digital, you're getting response by the hour, as you know. So you can change that advertising strategy to make sure we're not, the phrase, you know, the terminology, sending good money after bad. And so it is a high-tech operation. The technology allows us to do that and to be agile in our advertising.
Nearly 1,000 students online at HBU. Now give us the HBU Online website.
It's HBUonline.com.
HBUonline.com. And the Facebook site
is facebook.com/HBU Online.
HBU Online.
Yes.
So just be sure that online attaches to HBU. Check out the programs and enroll. Tell a friend about it. And remember this, just in closing, you know, we launched the Global Mental Health Center, and Kay Warren is coming to HBU November the 6th. She's going to tell that story that you and I both, as a father, and it's almost incomprehensible to imagine one of your children dying by suicide. I don't even know how you'd have the stamina to get out of bed, let alone go tell everybody about it like Kay is so bravely going to do on November 6th. I was just sitting there listening to the report today, and I was thinking, in a sense, when you go in the digital, your return mirrors your investment. And so for donors that want to give resources, financial gifts, to really make an impact, this is a key way, because we literally reach out of the city of Houston and we become available with Christ-centered education anywhere in America and beyond. How important is it for donors to not just forget us now that we've gotten a certain amount of altitude, we can go even higher with other strategic designated gifts?
Absolutely. We mentioned that we're focused on a 50-mile radius of Houston, and that's simply a resource issue. We would love to expand outside of the borders of Texas across the country. The president has a burden to take our education globally, but it takes resources to do that, and we're trying to be good stewards of what we have right now, but we could certainly grow at a more rapid pace or increase what we have if the resources were there to do so.
I hope you'll pray about giving a special gift, a sacrificial gift. I hope you'll remember those who stood up in the very beginning and gave, and let's keep this incredible momentum going. Thank you, Steve Peterson, for all you're doing, for Dr. Spencer. Our prayers are behind you guys. They've been from day one, and they're going to continue, and I have no doubt God's going to give you success.
Thank you.